Fucked up in here though. What it do, what it does, what it be like. This is your boy Black Girl, aka Dr. H.A.A.S, and this is the Doctor's Artist Podcast. Man, we made it around to episode 12. I think this is the first one of 2020. Or I put one on y'all here for New Year's. Man, I don't know. But yeah, we back and in full effect. Try to come at y'all more often this rip. So yeah, man, I need y'all to hit me up on either Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. I need some Q&A, ladies and gentlemen. I need y'all to hit me up when I'm gonna go on live one of these days, one of these weekends when I got a little time. But I'm gonna go on live, try to start a little convo, spark a little convo, see if anybody got some input, questions, comments, suggestions, what have you. We're trying to keep this thing rolling, man, while I'm in the process of getting interviewees for the podcast. You know, I'm gonna try to get more real when it comes to interviewing the people we look up to, at least in the community, in whatever genre, craft, career path, whatever. We just want to get to the top dogs. We want to speak to y'all. So please hit me up, DMs, emails. Y'all know how to get at me. If not, I will repeat it once again. Facebook, Earl Nelson page, or the Black Girl / H.A.A.S Entertainment page. That's all the same. Hit me on the ground at BLACKEARL_H.A.A.S. That is at Black Girl _H.A.A.S. I want to say the same for Snap, TikTok. I gotta get back at you because I'm just getting started on that thing. YouTube, of course, as always, Black Girl H.A.A.S. And that's all the same. So you know where to get at me, man. Don't run from it, cause I got some listeners now, man. I got people paying attention, not as much as you would believe, but in my own eyes and in my own mind, I'm grateful for the handful of folks that be up on it. Man, shout out to Valana Pulo, man. Straight up, what up, V? Up there in which way you in Bonking now? Real talk. I know for sure that's a hard hitter. Pay attention to the podcast episodes when I drop them. Got a couple of folks I be working with, a couple cousins. Shout out to Drex, man, Doe Malone. I know you always up on that thing. Everybody, man. All the friends of fam, Greg C, Lux C, all of y'all. A lot of the folk that's been on the podcast listen to it, and even those that haven't, y'all been up on it. So for y'all, I want to say thank you. And we just gonna keep the ball rolling, man. So shout out to y'all. Without any further ado, I don't want to keep the introduction long because this is going to be another one of them short episodes. I got things ripping and running. But without further ado, I could at least hit you with the latest diagnosis and stick to standard. Although the format of the podcast probably will change soon. So I hope you didn't get too comfortable as well as I did. But not saying that we're going to stray away from it completely. But there will be a few changes here or there. A few additions and modifications depending on what kind of format we got going on, whether it's just me on the solo dolo red cup thing or if it's me and another guest or a repeated guest, even if it's just somebody that be around all the time like Luck or Greg or somebody. But either way, you'll see the differences. But for today, for this episode, for the moment, living for the present, latest diagnosis. Now me being a Louisiana boy to the core, born and raised, what would this podcast be without me saying the Go Tigers? You understands me? LSU Tigers did defeat the Clemson Tigers. You see how I said that there? 42-25, man. Nice little blowout in the NCAA football college championship on Monday night. I was very happy to see that. Happy to admit it was a hell of a game. They had me a little scared in the beginning. Hell, Clemson jumped out to like 17-7. I want to say it was at some point, second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, had me a little shook. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if we had met our match, so to speak. But man, I feel played. I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I'm wrong for ever doubting these LSU Tigers of the 2019-2020 season. Because let me tell you, bro, they went undefeated around the table. They beat so many. I think it was 5 or 7 top 10 teams, and I think 5 of them was. I don't know. But long story short, we beat everybody that was worth talking about. Beat Auburn, beat Bama, came down in the semifinal, beat Oklahoma with strength in numbers. I mean, we threw it down. Then we met up with Clemson in this championship game, which was in New Orleans, by the way. Shout out for the championship being in the Superdome, a mile away from Baton Rouge, a mile away from LSU campus, a mile away from the Death Valley. Now here's some funny shit. Clemson's home stadium in Clemson, South Carolina is also called Death Valley, but neither game was played in neither Death Valley. We just played it right here in the very bottom of these United States, New Orleans, Louisiana. And that was great, man. It was great. We had a very big turnout, very big home crowd, of course. The support was very genuine, as it always is. And, I mean, the game itself was thrilled. I mean, like I said, not to say about me losing faith in the squad. I didn't lose faith in the actual team, but it was still tough. 17-7. I'm like, damn, I might have really got. But nah, your boy Burrow, bro. Joe Burrow, man, I can't say enough good things about this guy. Very well-spoken guy, good kid, bright future ahead of him. Liable to go #1 in the draft this year. He had a hell of a game. Burrow had 5 touchdowns in the air, and then he ran for another one. 6 total touchdowns. Now, this ain't no scrimmage. This ain't no little Rudy Poo squad that they playing in week 3 or some shit. Like, this was the national championship, bro. And the man threw 5 TDs and ran another one in. H.A.A.S had two of those two receptions for touchdown. Excuse me. He showed his naked ass. And Thaddeus Moss. Yeah, man, Randy Moss' son. That's Randy's boy. Yeah, he scored 2 touchdowns himself. So, man, that was great, man. That was great to see. On the losing side of the equation, Louisiana native Travis Etienne scored a touchdown for the Clemson Tigers. But it wasn't enough, man. I only scored 25 points, and it was not enough. LSU had 42 on the board. Very consistent defense. Once they figured it out, man, somewhere late in the second quarter, once they figured it out, it was over, man. They shut these boys down pretty decent. As for Travis, though, I don't hold your head, homie. You got your championship last year. Like I said, Louisiana native. Matter of fact, 337 native. You know what I'm saying? Jennings Bulldog, stand up. I see you. But yeah, man, it was great to see. It's great for it was just a heartwarming situation, especially for the state of Louisiana, due to the fact that that the Saints took their early exit out of the playoffs this year in the wild card round. So that kind of heals our hearts just a little bit down here in the dirty South, 337 especially. So shout out to LSU, man. Go Tigers. In other news, so to speak, not really news, but it was something that I ran across this week. I don't know exactly when it might have came out last week or maybe over the weekend. But Nipsey Hussle, God rest his soul, his album Victory Lap, which is one of my personal favorites, man. I bumped that thing a lot when it came out, but almost like everyone else, more so when he passed. I went deeper than that Victory Lap. I kind of went deeper into his catalog and started listening to the Crenshaw, to the, Neighborhood Nip mixtape, all of those, projects that stood out. But Victory Lap finally has been posthumously certified platinum by the RIAA. Now, here's what trips me out. I mean, first of all, congratulations to the late great Nipsey Hussle. I'm happy to hear it finally went platinum. I think it should have went platinum while he was living, which is the point that I'm trying to make. I find it a little fucked up that he got all those fresh set of ears after his death. I mean, I was a late bloomer myself. I listened to him. I heard of him and knew of him, but I didn't get deep into listening to his music until about 2017, maybe even as early as the beginning parts of 2018 was when I really caught on. Well, it was with Victory Lap, matter of fact. Like, I'd heard a few features here or there that over the years, and I liked them all. Especially, I think the first time I really resonated to him was like, alright, this dude got it. I think he was on Trouble. He was on T.I. albums. It was either Trouble Man. I think it was Trouble Man. Whatever one came out in 2012, because it was around the time Pop was born. But Nip was on one of them classic little bangers with T.I. on that album. But that's when I got hip to him. And yeah, man. Ever since then, I was heavy on him. And then that Victory Lap dropped, and I was heavy on it. Like every other song, I resonated with. Not because I necessarily lived through it. Some of the things he did get deep. You know, not everything was about the glitz and glamour. It was this, even though this album was particularly called Victory Lap, because his motto always was the marathon continues. He was running the marathon. It wasn't about the right now rewards. He was looking for the end game, so to speak. But yeah, I got on him, and you know, once he died, everybody in the world really got hip to what he had to say. And he was very positive, man. Almost, some people would say like a revolutionary, but I don't know how strong you want to push that term on him. But what I can say is that he was a black man about independence. He was very educated on finances and bringing wealth, spreading wealth throughout his community, and you know, just keeping his brand out in the open, really building his own brand and standing on it. You know, from the bottom to the top, which happens to be the title of this episode. But we'll get deeper into that in a minute whenever we get to the double dose. But just to continue on Nip, this statistic is crazy. Like according to Power 105, Nip album sales jumped from 1,000 to 14,000 in one week, just over 1 week's time. It jumped up over 13,000 units. But here's the bigger one. Here's the shit that flabbergasted me. No surprise, but it's just a wow moment. You know what I'm saying? The video streams, he went from like 900,000 total streams on like the Tube and Vivo to 9.7 million the day he passed. The day Nip died, his streams went from 900,000 to 9.7 million. That is outrageous. You understand me? That is crazy. Almost in a good way crazy, but it just makes you feel slow. Like, man, why would we wait until this man's dead and gone? Why not give him his flowers now? Why not reap the lesson and consume the education that he was trying to pass on to everybody while he was still living? Like, I don't understand that. But I mean, things happen. People live and learn, and then we pass away. So, you know, once again, R.I.P. to Nip, man. Congratulations on that platinum certification on the Victory Lap album. Very influential album. I loved it. I ate it up, man. I still listen to it to this day, and I will listen to it as long as I can, forever and evermore. So, yeah, that's about it, man, for our latest diagnosis. Excuse me. It's time for the double dose, and really the topic of discussion is, as I mentioned earlier, bottom to the top, man. From the bottom is what we're gonna talk about here. And you know, I'm gonna go back and forth about a few things, but I mostly resonate with what Drake said about 10-12 years ago. 0 to 100 real quick. It's an iffy situation with that, but I'm gonna just be real. It's not reasonable. 0 to 100 is not reasonable. You usually gotta crawl before you walk. You usually gotta ease into things. You need to build knowledge. You need to build a foundation and make stepping stones to get to an ultimate goal. And within doing that, you'll enjoy the journey too, because that's what the whole thing is about. It's always about the journey. But to contradict myself just a little bit, gotta be a little unreasonable sometimes. Am I right or am I wrong? If you're trying to create some change, if you're trying to get somewhere you ain't never been, you got to do some things you ain't never did. And sometimes you can't wait to jump in the water when the water get up warm to your temperature. You got to get in there cold. You know, I'm going to go back to that boy Drake. He said it in a song, drink it all even when it tastes too strong. So is that not what we doing when we just jump head first and realize that we going to have to start somewhere? Because there's no better place to start than somewhere. promise you. Promise you. You'll feel stupid for passing up on so much time and opportunity that you had from the get-go. If you'd have just started somewhere. You'll figure it out as you go. I promise you that. But you have to be willing to go from point A to point B all the way to point wherever you want to be. How about that? Because you have to see stuff through. Start from the bottom. When you're on a ladder, you can't jump into the middle of the ladder from the ground. You take it step by step from the ground up, from the bottom up, and try not to be belly up, if that makes any sense. Trying to stay alive and we're trying to stay afloat. So when it comes down to taking care of personal business, when it comes down to responsibilities, when it comes down to goals, when it comes down to dreams and hopes, and I mean, you just have to see it through. You can't expect to get 5-10 years ahead in the game that you just started a month or two ago. You know, you can cheat a lot of things. You can cheat the system. You can cheat your woman. You can cheat your, the women. You can cheat your man. You can cheat your mama. You can cheat your daddy. You can cheat your children. You can cheat on your taxes. You can cheat playing in the game. But you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot cheat the hustle. It knows what you're doing. It knows how you're coming. And it knows how you operate. And you only get out of it what you put into it. What's done in the dark always come to the light when it come to the grind. And it may not come when you want it, but I bet it come on time. Lord, that's a ball. Y'all got to let me pause for a second. I got to take that one down. Hold on.
Several days later.
Yeah, well, yeah, that took a little bit longer than expected. Yeah, but we back anyway. Yeah, since I took so long to get to the point, y'all understand what I'm trying to say. I guess that's enough with the double dose. I'm gonna roll right on head into the Truth Pill for episode 12. Now, usually, I'll have a little fly quote of my own, since it had been so long since the last podcast had dropped. But nah, I heard on All the Smoke podcast. Shout out to All the Smoke podcast hosted by Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. Boy, when I say they got a real one, they got a real one. I love All the Smoke. Great podcast. You guys should check it out. But on the latest episode, they were interviewing a former ESPN analyst, Carrie Champion. Now, she's a California girl. She's a little sassy, African American. So, of course, you can see where friction would come in with the network, with ESPN. So I don't know why she's no longer an analyst over there, but I do know that she was beast mode when she was there, and I'm looking forward to her future endeavors. But she said some very player shit, but I mean, to keep it really kind of grounds you a little bit, so to speak. I'm gonna spit it for you. And she said, I quote, "Don't believe all the hype, don't believe all the hate." Let me read that again. Do not believe all the hype. Do not believe all the hate. Now, let me break down what that's really meaning. A lot of times when we get criticism, I mean, like, it could be constructive criticism, but nonetheless, it could be taken as strictly negativity. But yes, criticism, hate, if you will. Most of us, we hear hating words and we think a few, we might think a little revenge. We might look inward, start to impose self-blame, or start to believe the opinion of the next person of them. And that's never the best way to go. You want to definitely maintain a positive attitude and continue to absorb positive energy through positive speaking and positive thoughts. But when it comes to hate and or haters, which sometimes we have a false sense of having them. Sometimes our biggest hater is ourselves. But when we actually do have physical haters spewing their hatred, we should not really lean and focus on that. We should more or less focus on the positive or focus on our own self-esteem and self-beliefs in our own personalities. Now, on the flip side, somebody give you little props. Somebody tell you you're doing something good or you're doing well. Um, a lot of times we'll get overextended on the fact that somebody's saying we doing the right thing, and that can hurt you in many ways. For one, is that what you believe? Do you believe you're doing well? According to your standards, do you believe you quote unquote on your shit? Is that something that you truly believe? And if it is something that you believe, is it allowing you to not go any further? I mean, look at it this way: if somebody's constantly telling you, "Man, you on, man, you doing it, man, you this, you that," and you get what you call complacent, you don't want to do nothing else. You think you straight. I've done enough. I've done enough. But you know, I don't know about in every industry, but I know for sure in entertainment, music, and even when it comes to speaking, the communications industry. I mean, you only good as your last go round, man. You're only good as your last at bat. If you ain't, what have you done for me lately is how it goes these days. That's the way that the game is played. So you really need to take heed to what Carrie said, man. You can't get high on the hatred, and you can't get real high off of the hype that people may build around you or your name and or your brand. I mean, it's just you can't do that. It all starts within. It all starts with you. Take time out of your own, I don't know, routine or out of your own little cycle. Escape out of your own little bubble and look at yourself from the outside looking in. Not saying have an out of body experience, but just take a look in the mirror. Take a long look. Figure out who you are. Figure out what makes you tick. And don't let the opinions, good or bad, of other folks steer you in a direction that you don't have no business going in. So, yeah. Way to go, Carrie. I really needed them words, and I'm sure everybody else did too. So, yeah, guaranteed, man. So, look, I hope you felt the true pill. We'll go straight off into the refill, and then we're going to close out. Now, before I jump off into this refill, man, which comes from Romans 12:12, by the way, but I just want to just let it be known, another disclaimer. This is not pressure to be involved in or to believe in a higher power. However, it's highly recommended, coming from me, your Dr. H.A.A.S. I would recommend it to anybody who doesn't have something to look forward to, a higher power to answer to, or just belief in the most powerful of energies. I suggest it to anybody. Life gets much easier the second you insert a tad bit of prayer and a whole lot of the Most High. So I'll just go right off into it, man. Romans 12:12, and it reads, "Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer." And to me, that means a whole lot, but it could all be boiled down to this, which goes right along with the topic of the podcast. You have to come from the bottom, start at the bottom, work your way up step by step, but those steps have to be consistent, and you have to be, I guess the word is optimistic. Yeah, it's the opposite of pessimistic. So yeah, you have to be consistent and you have to be optimistic. What that means is those steps that you have to take, most likely those are prayers, buddy. You're gonna have to say your prayers and call upon the man above much more often than you're doing, and have a belief in place that he will move in you and will move you either into position that you need to be in or out of an environment that you do not belong in. It's very simple, man. Stay prayed up, stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. So I hope you guys take that advice and roll off into it. So yeah, man, that about wraps it up, man, for episode 12. Once again, for anybody who's continuing or returning, to doctor's orders, man. I just pray that you can continue to keep your ear tuned in, man. I like throwing this knowledge, dropping these gems on y'all like Johnny the Jeweler. You know what I'm saying? And if this is your first go round, paying attention to me, man, y'all should check me out much more. It don't stop here, by the way. The podcast is just one of the multiple facets of the H.A.A.S brand. Of course, you can check out that Last Man Standing album. Will be coming soon. You can catch most of the singles through video form out on YouTube. And be on the lookout for that Mind Over Matter, my debut publication. When it comes to being an author, we're gonna drop us a book, man, coming very, very soon. And as always, you can catch this podcast on the Anchor app, Spotify, Stitcher. I throw the videos up on YouTube, however you like it. But appreciate you for listening to me. Y'all stay up till next time. 101.